What up, what up, what up? What up, what up? What's good, everybody? What's good, what's good? Just taking a few puffs before we go in. Everything good. Fucking with the Future. Oh, you hear the music? Yeah, we definitely fucking with Future. More so the Jimi Hendrix frequency, that 333. Today, we're gonna go into the 333, or the planet Jupiter, the planet of expansion. Last time we talked about Saturn, we talked about the root chakra. So now we're talking about the next phase. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through every single chakra, but I feel this aspect is of importance. So that's why we're going to deal with the art of levitation, mental levitation. Because once you ground yourself, once your feet is firmly planted, you say, what the fuck is going on? Everything is good over here, you know, clear skies. Everything is good. Just got it. It's a weird angle, but it's kind of windy, so I positioned it this way so it won't be a bunch of wind interference, just in case. I can actually turn this way. Let's see. All right. Fuck it. Gonna do our best to get these angles right. All right. So once you have your feet firmly planted, and who or what you are, what you represent, the next phase is expansion. In order to expand, you have to power up the lower dantian. If you don't know what that is, you know, it's 2 inches below your navel, or as they call the sacral chakra, right? The sex chakra. The reason why the sacral chakra is linked to expansion is because, for example, let's just say under normal circumstances, your imagination can stretch all the way up to 2 to 23 million square miles. For example, that's the potential. But under normal circumstances, let's just say you only have access to 6 million square miles. So that's an 18 million square mile difference. In order to access those extra 18 million square miles, you have to expand yourself. You have to expand your consciousness. You have to raise the frequency of your mental so that it starts to levitate. See, when people say they're stuck in the matrix or the physical realm, that means your mentality is so heavy that it's actually being held down to the physical level. So it's a mental heaviness. And again, coming from dealing with Saturn, the root chakra is going to be kind of heavy. So that's not abnormal. But as you become more aware of those 23 million or those extra 18 million square miles that you have access to, your mentality begins to levitate because you become aware that there is a lot more going on than meets the eye. Right? There's a lot more potential in the world that you could not have seen because of the mental heaviness. You could not have seen your true potential until you found out what your potential is. If you don't know what it is, if you don't know what you're capable of, you can't set your sights further than what you are aware of that you can do. So if you're a person that can only run 1 mile, you don't know what it feels like to run 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles. You're only capable of seeing that 1 mile, that 1 mile circumference. Once you become aware that you have a greater potential, because it has to happen mentally first before you have a physical reaction, before you can push your body beyond its limits of what you thought it was possible, what you thought it was capable of. You have to have the mental expansion first, and this is what the planet Jupiter represents. The planet Jupiter, the sacral chakra, represents the ability to expand your consciousness, your ability to expand. We all have the ability to expand. Otherwise, there would be no room for growth. So we all have the ability to expand, and it starts mentally first. Because it starts mentally first, because our minds are so heavily weighed down by the everyday, trials and tribulations of life, sometimes it's hard to push the boundaries because you're just not aware of what else there is to be conscious of. There's all type of realities going on simultaneously. And once we're able to tune in not only to one type of reality, that's the next thing. You start with yourself. Once you get yourself right, your mental circumference, now you're able to expand who and what you are. Because we have the ability to expand, that's what makes us infinite, because we have an infinite potential to expand. So let's just say in our mind, you can say with the physical eyes, infinity would be 23 million square miles. If you were at the center of 23 million square miles, it would look like infinity to the physical eye. So once you start to understand that our mentality has the ability to levitate, our mental has the ability to expand to greater heights. Once we read those records of who we are, what we're capable of, what our potential is, after we know what it is that we can do, now we can go about figuring out ways to do it. But you can't go about figuring out ways to do things that you're not aware of. So going back to the point, if all we had access to was 6 million square miles, you could say the physical reality is 6 million square miles. So that doesn't include your imagination. Your imagination gives you the ability to see those other 18 million square miles. That's the power of the imagination. You can see further than what the physical eye is capable of seeing. So once you're able to see further of what the physical eye is capable of seeing, you can now position yourself to have a different type of experience based on what you are capable of seeing. Once you realize you have a gift, now you have to nurture the gift. Whatever you find in your Akashic records, and you realize, okay, I was this is what I'm capable of, this is where I come from, now you set about on a journey to get the resources you have available to you so that you can express the greatest aspect of yourself. So that process of going about gathering your resources is based on what you're capable of seeing. Your ability to gather resources is based on how far you're able to see into the future. That's why Jupiter also represents the future, higher learning, university level type of thought. Your ability to see into the future is based on the capacity of your imagination. you even having access or being able to utilize your imagination so yes, you can expand your consciousness. This gives you a greater ability to navigate the physical plane, as well as the other dimensions we have available to us. Instead of just having dreams, you use that time, the time that you're going to be sleeping anyway, instead of just having random dreams or no dreams. Being consciously aware of the dreams, you use that time to expand your consciousness. When you constructively use that time to expand your consciousness, that will inspire you to do physical things. When you wake up with new inspiration that wasn't there yesterday, that's how that type of thing happens. That type of thing happens because you have mentally expanded your consciousness while your body rested, because you weren't asleep. Your body was just resting. When you allowed your body to rest, you were able to expand your mentality, which gave you new inspiration in the morning, new energy to go about the day. When you wake up refreshed, when you wake up renewed, that's because you have expanded your consciousness. Your body was resting, but you weren't asleep. You were actually active. You just don't have the memory of it most of the time. But these type of processes takes time, which is why you perfect your Saturn. It's all about timing. For example, you could say time moves much faster on the higher realms of consciousness. As you travel up the tree of life, the vibration starts to heighten. That's why the highest world is the fire world or the fire element, because fire is constantly going up. So it just naturally rises in vibration naturally. So the highest worlds are the fire worlds. So once you start to enter the fire world, the worlds, once excuse me, the cottonmouth is kicking in. But we're gonna keep going. Once you tap into the fire element of consciousness that is always constantly expanding. Fire is constantly expanding. When you tap into the fire that's constantly expanding, which is Jupiter. Jupiter is a fireball. It's a fiery planet. That's why it represents the element of fire, because it represents expansion. So the highest level of the tree of life, getting into that Kether, the highest illumination of purity, that's you tapping into the fire. That's you tapping into your Jupiter. That's you tapping into your sacral chakra. Your ability to expand and levitate your consciousness. I'm going to take a couple seconds to breathe deeply. Getting a little meditation there. So basically getting some sun gaze, and the sun is pretty bright. That's why the thumbnail is the image of the sun, because the sun is definitely, very prominent on this day. So expanding your mentality, levitating your mental, is being aware of the full 23 million square miles that we have access to, that we have available to us. So let's get up for a second. Turn the camera around. So expansion represents the difference between looking at the ground and looking at the sky. When all you know is this, as an example of the 6 million square miles, all you know is the ground, where you have no consciousness of this, you can see how greatly that will limit your ability to expand and properly navigate. This is how you merge the two worlds together. Anything you consider spiritual can be merged with anything you consider physical by bridging that gap. So we're not going to be on here too long. So I'll get back at y'all a little bit later. We'll stop it right there. Peace.